course, last couple of days. They're fantastic musicians. They come from fantastic band programs. Speaking of fantastic band programs, would you please welcome the director of our Jazz One. His name is Dr. Scott Belk. He is the Director of Jazz Studies at the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, otherwise known as CCM, and this very heavy Ellington program. Would you please give him and Jazz One a round of applause?
Well, good afternoon and welcome. We're so glad that you could be here, and we're so glad that we could be here to be here with you being here. Yes, we've had quite a busy schedule. It's been a wonderful couple of days. We've had a chance to get to really know each other and cover a great amount of music. Our first selection was Lindy Hopper's Delight. Lindy Hop was a really popular dance in the 1920s, the late 1920s, around the time that Duke Ellington had his famous residency at the Cotton Club, which was captured by a radio and sent out over the airways, and was one of the things that really helped popularize the big band era. Duke was on the front end of that. Now, this was not a Duke Ellington chart per se, but it's associated with that time. You heard from, on the trumpet, Derek. And on the tenor saxophone, you heard from Cargan. And on the clarinet, you also heard from Cargan. I'll just point out that that's unusual at this stage of the game, to have somebody stand up, play a great tenor solo, and then stand back up moments later, and play a really fine clarinet solo. How about it one more time for Quincy? We also got a chance to hear from our talented saxophone section on the little duet that was pretty humorous. You heard some, those were intentional notes, by the way. You heard from Isaac and from Tyler on that. We're going to stay with the classic big band era, something a little bit later, but from a wonderful composer and arranger that was associated with the big band era as a trumpet player and an alto saxophone player, and as also an arranger and fine musician, Benny Carter. This is his Movin Uptown. Cargan on tenor saxophone. And Derek again on the trumpet. Isaac playing on the alto saxophone. And we had Benjamin, who just left stage. I guess. Oh, there he is, on the drums. I mentioned Duke Ellington just a little bit ago, and we're going to continue. Our next tune is from the library of Duke Ellington. It's a pretty expansive library. In other words, that he was active writing from his earliest days in the early 1920s, or around 1924, with his group, Duke Ellington's Washingtonians. That was before the Duke Ellington Orchestra took shape. And he continued to write right up until his death in the early 1970s. That's a fairly expansive career, and it was very stylistically diverse. He was, by the time he was in the 1950s and 60s, he was writing suites of music. He's best known, of course, for his dance music, Take the A Train, in a mellow tone, Satin Doll. But his creative output continued. He did a wonderful, I encourage you to check it out. We'll pass the holidays, but he and Billy Strayhorn did a fantastic rendition, or a version of Duke Ellington's Peter Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. It's very tongue-in-cheek, it's a lot of fun, and so in the tradition of those suites and the classical composers, Duke started writing a number of suites, and this, we're going to play two pieces from our program from suites that he wrote. This is from his Shakespearean suite, which is called Such Sweet Thunder, and this is the title track, or the title arrangement, Such Sweet Thunder, and it's inspired by the poetry and writing of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare.
I will point out that this is a very subtle piece. You'll have to listen closely, but there's something that happens in it that's exceptional. And it happens in our drums. And he's doing something called a cross stick, where the drumstick is held against the snare drum, and it taps against the rim of the snare drum. It's very delicate, and you might not be able to hear it at first. So I want you to listen closely for it.
Basically, I think it's been mentioned earlier, but I really wanted to point out that the exceptional nature of what we've done this week. We had a chance. It's unusual to be on this type of a time frame with a band where they audition and get the music a couple of days before the gig, and then we have 2 days of rehearsal, really 1 day, full day of rehearsal and a little bit more, and then to turn this around, we've got 7 tunes that we're doing, and I want to just acknowledge the work that the band has done, and with the work that the directors have done to have them in a position where they can succeed as well, and to step into a situation this quickly and turn it around. It's the type of thing that the professionals do, meaning you don't have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 weeks or a semester to put on a concert. You have maybe 1 rehearsal. So these individuals in the band are on their way to being, or some of them probably already are, true professionals in that sense. I want to acknowledge their hard work for today. Yeah. Field goals for Ohio State or anything. You heard from Ashton on trombone, actually. Alex on the baritone, Mateo on guitar, Isaac on trumpet, Eli on trumpet. You also heard from Henry on the alto saxophone, Isaac on the alto. Also Ashley Tyler play. Yeah, all right. We're going to continue with something that's a little bit later, still the big band era, but more like the 50s and 60s by the great Bill Holman. This is Speak Low. once again on the tenor saxophone. Very nice. And on the trumpet, you heard from Olivia on the muted trumpet. We're going to get a little bit more modern, and by modern I mean the 1980s, so like 40 years ago instead of 100 years ago. This is from Maynard Ferguson's library. You're going to hear from Alex on baritone saxophone and from Gage on drums. Yeah, that's all right. And this is entitled Cajun Cookin. And actually, as we're getting ready for that, how about a hand for our trombone section? This is a really good trombone section. Yeah, no, seriously. I do a lot of these. Well, I don't do a lot of these things. I do a lot of big band, and it's a treat. It's a real treat to step into a situation like this where the trombones are this strong, this musical, and get this in tune. So yeah. So we'll challenge that a little bit with this next tune. This is Cajun Cookin. You're also going to hear from Mateo on the what is that thing? Guitar. about it for Cajun Cookin? Alex. Very fantastic. Gabe. Very nice. I'm going to do a beautiful ballad that was written by the great Quincy Jones. This is going to feature Eli on the trumpet. It's entitled For Lena and Lennie. All right, how about it for Eli? I want to take a moment just to thank Michael Payne for inviting me to come down and from all the way from Cincinnati. It took me 67 minutes to get here from my house. It's been a pleasure to work with everybody, to see such a well-run and musical output from all the ensembles and the directors. It's been inspirational for me, and really had a great time, and I'm pleased that I've been able to be a part of it. Thank you to all the administration here at Great Crossing and through the district for doing just a wonderful job with these students. We've got one more to play for you. This is again from the Library of Duke Ellington. This is from his New Orleans suite, and it's a celebration of New Orleans' second line. It's entitled New Orleans' Second Line.